The small scout ship Daedalus moved silently through the purple sky of Navarro. Inside, 5 aliens of the Mechtheri Confederation looked at their screens with great care. "Captain Tejo, we have found something strange," said Lieutenant Haydock. His 4-fingered hand pointed to a blinking dot on the screen. "It looks like a small camp. Not one of ours." Captain Tejo walked closer. His tall, thin body moved with grace despite the ship's tight space. The captain's gray skin wrinkled around his large eyes as he looked at the screen. "Scan it," he ordered. Science Officer Gio pressed several buttons on her console. The screen changed to show a small metal building surrounded by equipment. "It's not Mechtheri," she said. "And it's not from any race we know in this part of space." "Could it be human?" asked Navigator Gilsu. Everyone on the bridge became quiet. The Mechtheri had heard stories about humans. They came from a deadly planet called Earth, where gravity was strong, weather was extreme, and dangerous animals roamed everywhere. Humans were said to be tough and hard to kill. But no Mechtheri had ever met one in person. "If it is human, we should report this to High Command before making contact," said Security Chief Minje. His hand rested on his weapon. Captain Tejo thought for a moment. "No, this is our chance to learn about them directly. Gio, what do you suggest?" The science officer's eyes blinked rapidly with excitement. "We should capture one for study. Think of what we could learn." "Is that safe?" Navigator Gilsu asked, his voice shaking slightly. "Our weapons can stun any known species," Minje said. "Even a human should fall unconscious with one shot." Captain Tejo nodded. "We'll land a short distance away and approach quietly. Minje, Hayok, come with me. Gio too, for scientific observation. Gilsu, stay with the ship and be ready to take off quickly if needed." Park Do-yeon knew someone was coming before they arrived. The security systems around his small research outpost had picked up the alien ship landing 2 kilometers away. "Finally, some company," he said to himself with a smile. As a scout for human expansion, Do-yeon had spent 3 lonely months on Navarro. His job was to test if the planet could support human life. So far, the answer was yes. The atmosphere was breathable, the gravity slightly less than Earth's, and the local plants safe to eat after proper cooking. Do-yeon checked his personal shield generator and made sure his emergency beacon was working. Then he stepped outside to wait for his visitors. He didn't wait long. 4 thin, gray-skinned aliens emerged from the tree-like plants that surrounded his camp. They moved carefully, clearly trying to stay hidden. Do-yeon could see they carried weapons. "Hello," he called out, waving his hand high. "I come in peace." The aliens froze, surprised that he had seen them. They spoke quickly to each other in their language, which Do-yeon's translator couldn't understand yet. One alien, wearing a red uniform that looked more official than the others, stepped forward. He held up an empty hand in what seemed like a greeting. Do-yeon smiled and walked toward them. Suddenly, another alien raised a weapon. The one in red shouted something, but it was too late. A bright beam hit Do-yeon in the shoulder. Intense pain shot through his body. Do-yeon stumbled back, grabbing his shoulder. The aliens waited, watching him with their large eyes. To their surprise, Do-yeon didn't fall. The weapon had burned through his outer suit and left a painful wound, but it wasn't nearly strong enough to knock him out. Do-yeon looked at his burned shoulder, then at the shocked aliens. And then he did something that terrified them. He laughed. It wasn't a happy laugh. It was the kind of laugh that humans sometimes use when they're hurt but refuse to give up. A laugh that says, "Is that all you've got?" That wasn't very friendly, Do-yeon said, still chuckling. "Let's try this again. I'm human. My name is Park Do-yeon. And you are?" The aliens backed away. One of them fired again, hitting Do-yeon in the leg. He grunted in pain but remained standing. His smile disappeared. "Okay, I tried to be nice." Do-yeon reached for the small stun pistol at his belt. The aliens turned and ran, clearly frightened by the human who could take multiple shots and still stand. Their thin legs carried them quickly back into the forest. As they disappeared, Do-Yun sighed and examined his wounds. They hurt, but they weren't life-threatening. Not the first contact I was hoping for, he said to himself. This is going to be a problem. The Mechtheri team raced back to their ship, breathing hard. Captain Tejo was the first to reach the entrance ramp. Gilsu, start the engines now, he shouted. Once inside, Lieutenant Hayuk slammed his hand on the door control. The ramp closed just as Navigator Gilsu fired up the engines. What happened? Gilsu asked, turning around in his chair. Why are you all running? Security Chief Minja collapsed into his seat. We found a human. And? Gilsu's eyes widened with curiosity. We shot him, Lieutenant Hayuk said, his voice shaking. Twice. And he just stood there. Science Officer Jiho was already at her console, typing quickly. He took a direct hit to the shoulder and leg. Our weapons should have knocked him unconscious instantly. But they didn't, Captain Tejo said. He looked troubled. Instead, he laughed. The ship lifted off the ground and rose into the purple sky of Navarro. All 5 Mechtheri were quiet, thinking about what they had seen. We need to report this to High Command, Captain Tejo said finally. Gilsu set course for the main ship. The main vessel of the Mechtheri fleet was massive compared to their small scout ship. Called the Starlight Watcher *. It housed over 300 Mechtheri and served as their base in this part of space. High Commander Sunwoo listened carefully as Captain Tejo's team told their story. The commander's dark gray skin showed his age, and his eyes had faded from bright yellow to a pale amber. You're certain it was a human? Commander Sunwoo asked. Yes, Jiho said. He matched all nub descriptions. 2 arms, 2 legs, round ears, and pinkish-brown skin. He even told us his name before we ran. Commander Sunwoo stood up from his chair and walked to the large window that showed the stars outside. One human is concerning enough, but where there is one, there are usually more. What should we do, Commander? Asked Captain Tejo. Science Officer Jiho, I want you to research everything we know about humans. Their strengths, weaknesses, and why our weapons didn't work on them. Jiho nodded eagerly. I'll start right away. Captain Tejo, prepare your team to return to the planet. Watch the human, but do not approach him again until we know more. Yes, Commander. As the meeting ended, Jiho hurried to the ship's library. She had heard stories about humans her whole life, but now she needed facts. She connected to the main database and began research. Hours passed as Jiho read every record about Earth and humans. What she found amazed and frightened her. This can't be right, she whispered as she read. But the data was clear. Later, Jiho stood before Commander Sunwoo and Captain Tejo's team. Her hands trembled slightly as she prepared to share her findings. Tell us what you've learned, Commander Sunwoo said. Jiho displayed images on the large screen behind her. Humans come from a planet called Earth. It has much stronger gravity than our homeworld. Almost twice as strong. That explains their dense muscles, Minja said. It gets worse, Jiho continued. Their planet has extreme weather. Frozen water falls from the sky in some places. In others, the air gets so hot it can cook food. The Mechtheri looked at each other in disbelief. Their world is full of predators that could kill a Mechtheri in seconds. To survive, humans evolved thick skin, fast healing, and incredible pain tolerance. Jiho showed them an image of a human skeleton. Their bones are much stronger than ours, and their muscles can get stronger with use. The more they lift, the more they can lift. Lieutenant Hayuk raised his hand. But our weapons are designed to overload Mechtheri nervous systems, Jiho explained. Human nerves work differently. We basically just gave him a burn. Commander Sunwoo's face darkened. So what can stop them? Higher settings might work, Jiho said. But there's something else you should know. She paused. Humans are very social. This one called Park Do-hyun is probably not alone for long. He might have a ship nearby or friends coming to help him. Captain Taejo stood up. So we need to capture him quickly, before others arrive. Commander Sunwoo nodded slowly. Prepare a larger team. 10 security officers with adjusted weapons. But remember, I want him alive. We need to know why humans have come to Navarro. As the others left to prepare, Jiho stayed behind, still studying the data about humans. One fact kept drawing her attention. Humans had a strange history of befriending other species, even predators from their own world. What if, she wondered, we don't need to capture him at all? Park Do-hyun finished treating his wounds. The burn on his shoulder stung, but he had seen worse during his military training back on Earth. The leg wound was more annoying than painful. They'll be back, he said to himself. And next time, they'll bring friends. Do-hyun looked around his small outpost. He had built it to study the planet, not to defend against aliens. But a good scout always prepared for trouble. He opened a hidden panel in the floor and pulled out a metal box. Inside were emergency supplies, a better medical kit, some weapons and tools. Do-hyun didn't want to hurt the aliens, but he needed to protect himself. As the twin suns of Navarro began to set, Do-hyun worked quickly. He set up small sensors in the trees around his camp. They would warn him if anyone came close. He dug shallow holes and covered them with branches and leaves. He strung thin wires between trees at ankle height. Simple traps, Do-hyun said with a smile. Sometimes the old ways work best. Then he waited. Security Chief Minja led 10 officers through the forest. All carried weapons set to maximum power. Captain Taejo and Science Officer Jiho followed behind them. Remember, Minja told his team, we want the human alive. Shoot only if necessary. Junior Officer Yunjin was the youngest in the group. This was his first real mission. What if our weapons still don't work? He asked nervously. That's why we brought these, Minja said, holding up a net launcher. If weapons fail, we trap him. They moved quietly through the strange trees of Navarro. The forest had blue leaves that turned purple in the fading light. We're close, Captain Taejo whispered. His camp should be just ahead. Suddenly, one of the officers in front tripped over a wire. A loud alarm sounded from the trees. He knows we're here, Minja shouted. Move quickly. The team ran forward, but 2 more officers fell into hidden holes. Another got caught in a net that Do-hyun had set up. The net wasn't meant to catch aliens. It was part of Do-hyun's regular equipment for catching local animals to study. But it worked just as well on the thin mechthuri. Chaos spread through the alien team. In the confusion, no one noticed Do-hyun moving silently between the trees. Over there, Yunjin pointed as he caught a glimpse of the human. He raised his weapon and fired, but Do-hyun had already moved. From behind a large tree, Do-hyun threw a small device. It hit the ground and burst open, releasing a cloud of thick smoke. I can't see, one officer cried out. In the smoke and confusion, Do-hyun moved quickly. He knocked 2 officers unconscious with quick hits to the head, gentle by human standards, but enough to stun the fragile mechthuri. Minja fired blindly into the smoke. His beam hit a tree, which caught fire instantly. Stop shooting, Captain Taejo ordered. You'll burn down the forest. Too late, they realized the human had circled around behind them. Do-hyun tackled Minja to the ground, careful not to hurt him too badly. The security chief struggled, but human strength was far greater than mechthuri. Don't move, Do-hyun said calmly. I don't want to hurt you. The smoke began to clear. The aliens saw their security chief pinned under the human's weight. 4 officers were unconscious or trapped. The others pointed their weapons at Do-hyun, but were afraid to shoot with Minja so close. Captain Taejo stepped forward. Release him, he demanded, trying to sound brave. Do-hyun looked up at the captain. Blood dripped from a small cut on his forehead where a branch had hit him. He smiled, which somehow made him look even more dangerous. "Let's talk instead," Do-hyun said. "I think we got off to a bad start." Officer Yunjin was closest to Do-hyun. He saw something surprising. The human was holding Min-jae down, but was also checking the alien's breathing and being careful not to press too hard on his chest. "You're not trying to kill us," Yunjin said with sudden understanding. Do-hyun looked at the young alien. "Of course not. If I wanted you dead, you would be." He nodded toward the camp. "Now, would you all like to come inside? I have food and medical supplies for your injured friends, and I think we have a lot to talk about." The Mechtheri looked at each other, uncertain. But they had little choice. The human had proven he could defeat them easily, yet he was offering peace. Slowly, Captain Taejo nodded. "We will talk." Inside Do-hyun's outpost, the Mechtheri sat nervously on chairs that were too big for them. Do-hyun had treated the injured aliens with his medical kit. Their wounds were minor, a few bruises, and one sprained ankle. Science Officer Jiho couldn't stop staring at the human. He moved around the small space with ease, making hot drinks for everyone. The burn on his shoulder seemed to bother him very little. "Why are you being nice to us?" Captain Taejo finally asked. "We tried to capture you." Do-hyun placed cups in front of each alien. The liquid inside was blue and smelled sweet. "On Earth, we have a saying, 'Make friends before you make enemies.' I'd rather talk than fight." "What is this?" Officer Yunjin asked, looking at his cup. "Tea made from local plants. I've been drinking it for weeks. It's safe for you. I check your biology in my database." Yunjin took a small sip. His eyes widened in surprise. "It's good." Security Chief Min-jae wasn't so easily won over. "You attacked my team." "You shot me twice," Do-hyun replied with a smile. "I'd say we're even." Jiho leaned forward. "How are you still standing? Our weapons should have at least knocked you down." Do-hyun touched his bandaged shoulder. "Your weapons hurt, but humans have thick skin and can handle a lot of pain. We evolved that way." "Tell us about Earth," Yunjin said eagerly. Do-hyun walked to a small computer on his desk. He pressed a button, and images appeared on the wall. The Mechtheri gasped as they saw pictures of Earth: blue oceans, green forests, and high mountains. Earth has many different places. Some are very cold with ice and snow. Others are very hot, like deserts. We have deep oceans and tall mountains. The images changed to show humans doing different activities: working, playing sports, and building things. There are over 10 billion humans now. We live on Earth and on colonies on other planets. "Do humans fight wars?" Min-jae asked, still suspicious. Do-hyun's face became serious. "We used to fight many wars. Against each other, mostly. But we learned that working together is better than fighting." The next images showed massive human ships traveling through space. "Our ships?" Captain Taejo asked, looking worried. "Exploration vessels, mostly. We're curious about the galaxy. That's why I'm here, to learn about this planet." Jiho studied the images carefully. "These ships have weapons." "Yes. The galaxy can be dangerous. We defend ourselves when needed." As they talked, Yunjin noticed something on Do-hyun's desk: a small picture of a human woman and a child. "Who are they?" Yunjin asked, pointing to the picture. Do-hyun picked up the photo with a gentle smile. "My wife Sora and our daughter Min-jae. They're back on our colony world, waiting for me." This surprised the Mechtheri. They hadn't thought of the human as having a family. "Do you miss them?" Yunjin asked. "Every day," Do-hyun replied. "But this work is important. We need to find planets where humans can live peacefully." Captain Taejo looked troubled. "Are humans planning to take over Navarro?" "No, we're just exploring. If we find intelligent life already living on a planet, we don't settle there without permission. We'd prefer to make friends and trade." Jiho was busy taking notes on her small computer. "Your technology seems advanced." "In some ways, but we're always looking to learn more." Do-hyun looked directly at Captain Taejo. That's why I'd like to propose an exchange of information between humans and the Mechtheri. Before Taejo could answer, the outpost's alarm system began to beep loudly. Do-hyun rushed to check the monitor. A large ship just entered orbit, he said, suddenly serious. Not one of mine. The Mechtheri looked at each other. Min-jae stood up. That would be our main vessel, the Starlight Watcher *. High Commander Sunwoo must have decided to come himself. Is that good or bad? Do-hyun asked. Bad, Captain Taejo said quietly. The commander ordered us to capture you. He will not be happy that we're sitting here drinking tea instead. Do-hyun looked at the aliens. His new friends, or still enemies. He couldn't be sure. Then we have a problem, he said, because I'm not going to be captured. High Commander Sunwoo stood on the bridge of the Starlight Watcher *, staring at the planet below. His thin fingers tapped impatiently on the control panel. Have we located Captain Taejo's team? He asked. A young officer nodded. Yes, Commander. They are at the humans' outpost, but we're not receiving any distress signals. Strange, the commander said. They should have captured the human by now. Another officer approached nervously. Commander, we're receiving a message from Captain Taejo. Put it on screen. Captain Taejo's face appeared on the large display. He looked uncomfortable, but not afraid or injured. Commander Sunwoo, we have made contact with the human. His name is Park Do-hyun. He is a scout for human exploration. The commander's eyes narrowed. Have you captured him as ordered? Taejo hesitated. Not exactly, sir. The situation has changed. The human defended himself, but then offered peace. He has shared information about humans and Earth. I believe we should talk with him, rather than try to capture him. Commander Sunwoo's skin darkened with anger. Captain, may I remind you that humans are classified as a dangerous species. Your mission was to capture this scout before more humans arrive. But sir, he says humans don't want to take over Navarro. They're just exploring. And you believe him? Sunwoo asked. You were always too trusting, Taejo. The commander turned to his second-in-command, War Officer Chunho. Prepare a shuttle. Take 20 armed guards to the surface. Bring me that human and rescue our team. Yes, Commander. Chunho bowed and left to prepare his team. Back on the screen, Taejo looked worried. Sir, I must protest. This could cause a serious problem with the humans. Your protest is noted, Captain, Sunwoo said coldly. But my orders stand. At the outpost, Do-hyun and the Mechtheri watched the exchange on the communication screen. When it ended, silence filled the room. Well, Do-hyun said finally, your commander seems nice. Despite the tension, Yunjin laughed at the human's joke. Even Captain Taejo's mouth twitched in a small smile. Commander Sunwoo is cautious, Jiho explained. Many years ago, another race attacked our colonies without warning. Since then, we are careful with new species. Do-hyun nodded. I understand. Humans have had similar experiences. He walked to his equipment locker and began taking out items. But I meant what I said. I won't be captured. What will you do? Min-jae asked. There are 20 guards coming. I have a few tricks left. Do-hyun pulled out a small black device. First, I'm activating my emergency beacon. It will let other human ships know I need help. Other humans are nearby. Taejo asked, surprised. The nearest outpost is 3 days away by ship, but they'll come if I call. Do-hyun looked at the 5 Mechtheri. You have a choice to make. You can help your commander try to capture me, or you can help me prevent a fight between our species. Captain Taejo stood up straight. What do you suggest? I need to talk directly to your commander. Make him understand that humans aren't a threat. Jiho shook her head. He won't listen. He's already decided. Then I need to show him, Do-hyun said. Sometimes actions speak louder than words. Yunjin stepped forward. I will help you. I believe you're telling the truth. Yunjin, Min-jae said sharply. That's close to treason. No, Captain Tejo said quietly. It's diplomacy. He turned to Doyan. I will help you too. War between our species would be terrible for both sides. Jiho nodded her agreement, but Minjae still looked uncertain. What about you, Chief? Doyan asked him. Minja looked torn between duty and what he now believed was right. I need to protect my people. That's exactly what I'm trying to do too, Doyan said. Before Minja could answer, the outpost's sensors beeped again. A shuttle has left the main ship, Doyan announced. We don't have much time. He turned to the Mechtheri. Here's my plan, but it will only work if we all agree. As Doyan explained his idea, the Mechtheri listened with growing amazement. The humans' plan was bold, dangerous, and might just work. Outside, the twin suns of Navaru set completely, plunging the forest into darkness. In the night sky, the lights of an approaching shuttle grew brighter. War Officer Chunho led his team through the dark forest. Each soldier carried a heavy weapon designed to take down large animals. If regular stun weapons didn't work on humans, these surely would. Remember, Chunho told his team, the human must be captured alive. Commander Sunwoo wants to study him. The soldiers moved quietly toward the human's outpost. Its lights glowed through the trees ahead. Sir, one soldier whispered, should we watch for traps? Captain Tejo's team was caught by surprise. Chunho nodded. Good point. Move carefully and stay alert. As they approached the edge of the clearing, Chunho raised his hand to stop the group. The outpost door was open, and Captain Tejo stood outside. Captain, Chunho called. Report your status. Tejo walked toward them. All is well, War Officer. We have the situation under control. Chunho looked suspicious. Where is the human? Inside. He is talking with Science Officer Geo about Earth. He seems quite friendly. Friendly or not, he must be captured, Chunho said firmly. Move aside, Captain. Tejo stepped back, allowing Chunho and his soldiers to approach the outpost. As they reached the door, Chunho felt uneasy. This seemed too easy. Inside, the small space was brightly lit. The human sat at a table with Jiho and Yunjin. He stood up when the soldiers entered. Hello, Doyan said calmly. You must be War Officer Chunho. I've heard about you. Chunho raised his weapon. Park Doyan, you are now a prisoner of the Mechtheri Confederation. Come with us peacefully. Doyan looked at the large weapons pointed at him. Those look more powerful than the last ones. They might actually hurt me. He smiled. But before you shoot, may I show you something? No tricks, Chunho warned. No tricks, Doyan agreed. He walked slowly to his computer and pressed a button. A map appeared on the wall screen. It showed the star system they were in, with several red dots moving toward Navaru. What is this? Chunho demanded. Human ships, Doyan said simply. 5 of them, responding to my emergency signal. They'll be here in less than 2 days. The soldiers looked nervous, but Chunho stayed calm. You're lying. No ships could respond that quickly. The nearest human outpost is closer than I told your friends, Doyan admitted. I always keep some information secret, just in case. Chunho laughed. Even if you're telling the truth, 5 ships are no match for our fleet. These aren't exploration vessels, Doyan said. They're military ships, fast and well-armed. Enough, Chunho shouted. This changes nothing. You're coming with us now. He nodded to his soldiers, who moved forward to grab Doyan. The human didn't resist as they put restraints on his wrists. War Officer, Captain Tejo said, I must protest. This action could start a war with the humans. That is not your concern, Captain, Chunho replied coldly. As they led Doyan outside, Yunjin followed closely. Please, War Officer, the young Mechtheri said. The human has been peaceful. He even treated our injuries. Stand down, Junior Officer, Chunho ordered. Return to your duties. They marched Do-hyun across the clearing toward the shuttle. The human walked calmly, seemingly unbothered by his capture. Suddenly, Do-hyun stopped walking. The soldiers pushed him, but he wouldn't move. It was like trying to push a wall. "I've been polite," Do-hyun said, his voice now hard and serious. "I've tried to be friendly, but I will not be taken prisoner." With a quick motion, Do-hyun snapped the restraints on his wrists. The metal broke like it was made of paper. The soldiers stepped back in shock. "Those ships I showed you are real," Do-hyun said. "And if I don't send another signal soon, they'll assume I'm dead. They won't be happy about that." Junho raised his weapon and fired without warning. The powerful beam hit Do-hyun square in the chest. The human staggered back 2 steps. Then, despite what must have been terrible pain, Do-hyun did the thing that terrified the Mechtheri most. He laughed. It was a grim laugh, not of joy but of determination. Smoke rose from his burned shirt, but Do-hyun stood firm. "That actually hurt," he said. "Good job, but not good enough." Before anyone could react, Do-hyun moved with surprising speed. He grabbed Junho's weapon and bent the barrel with his bare hands. "Now," Do-hyun said, "let's try talking one more time. Or do I need to show you what humans are really capable of when threatened?" High Commander Sunwoo paced on the bridge of the Starlight Watcher *. War Officer Junho's team had stopped sending regular updates, and he feared the worst. "Try to contact them again," he ordered. A communications officer tried once more. "No response, Commander." Sunwoo's patience had run out. "Prepare the ship's weapons. Target the area around the humans' outpost." The weapons officer looked shocked. "But sir, our own people are down there." "I'm aware of that," Sunwoo said coldly. "But we cannot let this human threat spread. If Junho has failed, we must eliminate the problem from orbit." The crew followed orders, but they moved slowly. None of them wanted to fire on their own people. "Weapons ready, Commander," the officer finally reported. Sunwoo took a deep breath. "Fire." Bright beams shot down from the ship, hitting the forest around Do-hyun's outpost. Trees exploded into flames. The ground shook from the impacts. Again, Sunwoo ordered. More beams struck the planet's surface, creating a ring of fire around the area. Inside the shuttle, Do-hyun and the Mechtheri felt the ground shake as the attacks hit nearby. "Your commander is bombing the forest," Do-hyun said. "That's not very friendly." War Officer Junho sat with his hands tied. After Do-hyun had bent his weapon, the human had quickly disarmed all the soldiers. No one had been hurt, but their pride was wounded. "Commander Sunwoo believes all humans are dangerous," Junho said. "He will not stop until you are captured or dead." "Then we need to change his mind," Do-hyun replied. Captain Taejo looked worried. "The attacks are getting closer. We should leave now." Do-hyun shook his head. "No, I have a better idea." He turned to face all the Mechtheri. "I need one of you to take me to your main ship." "That's crazy," Minja said. "You'd be walking right into danger." "Sometimes the best defense is a surprise attack," Do-hyun said. "But I won't hurt anyone unless I have to." Yoonjin stepped forward. "I'll take you. I can fly the shuttle." Junho laughed. "Commander Sunwoo will shoot down the shuttle as soon as we approach without permission." "Then we'll need to get permission," Do-hyun said. He looked at Junho. "And you're going to help us." Outside, the forest fire was spreading. Smoke filled the air, and the heat was growing stronger. Junho looked at the flames, then back at Do-hyun. "What's your plan, human?" "You're going to tell your commander that you've captured me, that I'm unconscious and ready for transfer to the main ship." "And why would I do that?" Do-hyun's face became serious. "Because if you don't, those human ships I told you about will arrive to find me dead, and they will not be happy." Junho thought for a moment, then nodded. "I'll do it." The war officer sent a message to Commander Sunwoo, saying exactly what Do-hyun had suggested. The reply came quickly. They were cleared to dock with the main ship. As Yunjin piloted the shuttle upward through Navarro's atmosphere, Do-yeon looked out the window at the burning forest below. "I hope this works," he said quietly. "What if it doesn't?" Joe asked. "Then I'll improvise." Do-yeon smiled, but his eyes remained serious. "That's another thing humans are good at." The shuttle approached the massive Mechtheri vessel. It was huge compared to the small shuttle, with weapons pointed in all directions. "Remember," Do-yeon told the Mechtheri, "when we dock, act like I'm your prisoner. Get me close to Commander Sunwoo. The rest I'll handle myself." "This is very dangerous," Captain Taejo warned. "The commander will have guards everywhere." "I know," Do-yeon said, "but sometimes the only way to make peace is to face the biggest threat directly." The shuttle docked with the main ship. As the door opened, Do-yeon lay on the floor, pretending to be unconscious. 4 Mechtheri soldiers waited outside to escort the prisoner. Captain Taejo stepped out first. "War Officer Juno has captured the human as ordered. We're taking him to the commander now." The soldiers looked at the large human lying still on the shuttle floor. "He doesn't look very dangerous now," one said. Do-yeon heard this and fought back a smile. The Mechtheri had no idea what was coming. The Mechtheri guards carried Do-yeon on a stretcher through the corridors of the Starlight Watcher *. The human lay still, pretending to be unconscious. Captain Taejo, Jiho, and Juno walked alongside, while Yunjin and Minji followed behind. Crew members stopped to stare as they passed. Most had never seen a human before. They whispered to each other, pointing at Do-yeon's large form. "He's so big. Is he dead? I heard he broke metal restraints with his bare hands." Finally, they reached the bridge. The doors slid open, and they brought Do-yeon inside. High Commander Sunwoo stood at the center, his back straight and his face serious. "Put him there," the commander ordered, pointing to an open space in front of his command chair. The guards placed the stretcher down and stepped back. Sunwoo approached slowly, looking down at the human. "So this is the dangerous creature that caused so much trouble," he said. "He doesn't look special." "Be careful, Commander," Captain Taejo warned. "He is stronger than he appears." Sunwoo waved his hand dismissively. "He's unconscious. How much harm can he do now?" The commander turned to Juno. "You did well, War Officer. What weapons finally worked against him?" Before Juno could answer, Do-yeon opened his eyes. "Nothing worked very well, actually." Sunwoo jumped back in surprise as Do-yeon sat up on the stretcher. The guards reached for their weapons, but they were too slow. In one quick motion, Do-yeon was on his feet. He moved faster than the Mechtheri could follow, grabbing Sunwoo by the front of his uniform and lifting him slightly off the ground. "Now," Do-yeon said calmly, "we're going to talk. No more shooting, no more capture attempts." "Guards!" Sunwoo shouted. "I wouldn't," Captain Taejo said to the guards. "The human could break the commander's neck before you fire." The guards hesitated, weapons half raised. "I don't want to hurt anyone," Do-yeon said loudly enough for everyone to hear. "I just want to talk. That's all I've wanted from the beginning." He set Sunwoo back on his feet, but kept hold of his uniform. "Will you listen now, Commander?" Sunwoo's face showed anger, but also fear. He nodded stiffly. Do-yeon released him and stepped back. "Thank you." The bridge was silent. Everyone watched the human and the commander, waiting to see what would happen next. Before either could speak, a young officer at the communication station called out, "Commander, we're detecting a ship entering the system. It's moving very fast." "Is it one of ours?" Sunwoo asked. "No, sir. Unknown design." "Wait." The officer looked up with wide eyes. "It's broadcasting the human identification code." Do-yeon smiled. "That would be the Discovery *. Captain Yubin's ship. She always was faster than expected." "You said they were days away," Junho said accusingly. "I may have exaggerated a bit," Do-yeon admitted, "just in case things went badly." Sunwoo's face darkened. Prepare weapons. Target the human ship. No. Do-hyun's voice was so commanding that everyone on the bridge froze. That would be a terrible mistake. Science Officer Jiho stepped forward, holding her data tablet. Commander, I've been analyzing everything we know about humans. They are not the threat we thought. Explain, Sunwoo demanded. Jiho displayed images on the main screen. Humans evolved on a dangerous planet, yes. They are physically strong and hard to kill. But they are also highly social and cooperative. The screen showed humans working together, building cities, helping each other. Their history has violence. Joe continued, but also great acts of kindness. They value peace and exploration more than conquest. Yoonjin joined her. Commander, I spent time with Park Do-hyun. He could have killed us all easily, but he chose not to. Even when we shot him, he offered friendship. Sunwoo looked from the officers to Do-hyun, his doubts visible on his face. Commander, Do-hyun said gently, I understand your caution, but humans don't want war with the Mechtheri. We want to learn from you, trade with you, be friends if possible. The communications officer spoke again. Sir, the human ship is hailing us. Put it on screen, Sunwoo ordered. The main display changed to show the face of a human woman. She had dark eyes and short black hair. This is Captain Yubin of the Earth Exploration Vessel Discovery *. I'm responding to an emergency signal from Scout Do-hyun. Her eyes found Do-hyun on the bridge. Are you all right, Park? I'm fine, Captain, Do-hyun replied with a smile. Just a few misunderstandings to clear up. Captain Yubin's expression remained serious. Commander Sunwoo, I presume. I hope we can resolve this situation peacefully. Sunwoo looked at the human captain, then at Do-hyun, and finally at his own officers. He saw something in their faces he hadn't expected. Hope. Perhaps, he said slowly, we should talk. 6 months had passed since the meeting between humans and the Mechtheri on the Starlight Watcher *. Today, representatives from both species gathered on Navarru for a historic ceremony. A large open-air platform had been built in a clearing where Do-hyun's small outpost once stood. The forest had regrown around it, with new blue-leaf trees replacing those lost in the fire. Hundreds of Mechtheri and dozens of humans stood together under the twin suns. Park Do-hyun walked onto the platform wearing a formal uniform with the Earth Exploration Service emblem. Beside him walked Yoonjin, now wearing the colors of a Mechtheri diplomat. They had become close friends during the past months. Nervous? Do-hyun asked quietly. A little, Yoonjin admitted. I never thought I would help write a treaty between our peoples. They'd reached the center of the platform where Captain Yubin and Commander Sunwoo waited. The two leaders had spent months negotiating the details of the alliance between humans and the Mechtheri Confederation. Commander Sunwoo no longer looked at Do-hyun with suspicion. Instead, he gave a small bow of respect. Scout Do-hyun, he said, it seems I owe you an apology for shooting at you. Do-hyun smiled. And I should apologize for laughing. It wasn't polite. Your laughter taught us an important lesson about humans, Sunwoo said. You are stronger than you appear, but also kinder than we expected. Captain Yubin stepped forward with a digital tablet. The treaty is ready for signing, Commander. The crowd grew quiet as Yubin read the main points of the agreement. Humans and the Mechtheri agree to share knowledge and technology for the benefit of both species. Humans will provide medical knowledge and help strengthen Mechtheri physical health. The Mechtheri will share their advanced space navigation technology. Sunwoo and Yubin pressed their hands to the tablet, making the treaty official. The crowd cheered. As part of the celebration, Science Officer Jiho had prepared a special demonstration. She invited Do-hyun to the front of the platform. When we first met Park Do-hyun, she told the crowd, we shot him, and he laughed. We didn't understand then what we know now. Jiho held up a small device. Humans helped us create this medical scanner. It shows us that humans have remarkable healing abilities that we can learn from. She activated the scanner, and a large display showed Do-hyun's shoulder. The scar from the first shot was barely visible. Humans heal quickly and can survive injuries that would kill a Mechtheri, Geo explained. By studying their biology, we've created new treatments that have already saved many Mechtheri lives. Next, War Officer Chunho demonstrated a human training program that was helping Mechtheri soldiers become stronger. Young Mechtheri were lifting weights and running obstacle courses designed by human trainers. "We may never be as physically strong as humans," Chunho said, "but we can become stronger than we were." As the formal part of the ceremony ended, people broke into smaller groups to talk and share food. Do-hyun found himself surrounded by young Mechtheri who wanted to hear his story directly. "Is it true you broke metal restraints with your bare hands?" one asked. "Well, they weren't very strong restraints," Do-hyun said modestly. "Did you really laugh after being shot?" asked another. "I did, but it still hurt quite a bit." Yoonjin joined the group, bringing a special guest. "Do-hyun, look who just arrived." Do-hyun turned to see a human woman holding a young girl's hand. His face lit up with joy. "Sora. Minji." He rushed to embrace his wife and daughter. "I didn't think you could make it." "We wouldn't miss this," Sora said, hugging him tight. "Your daughter wanted to see the blue trees you told her about." Little Minji looked at the young Mechtheri with curiosity rather than fear. One of them offered her a piece of colorful fruit, which she accepted with a smile. Captain Taejo, now the official Mechtheri ambassador to Earth, watched the scene with satisfaction. He turned to Captain Yubin. "It's strange to think this all started because we shot a human who laughed at us." Yubin nodded. "Sometimes the worst beginnings lead to the best friendships." As the twin suns began to set, humans and Mechtheri gathered together to watch the purple sky darken. No longer strangers or enemies, but the beginning of a new alliance that would benefit both worlds. And it all started with a laugh.